الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين وعلى آله وصحبه وأزواجه أجمعين أما بعد. They are known by the three amigos. They even described themselves as being the amigos. Three. All of them in the Senate, and together they worked on many issues together as a team. Who are they? Lindsey Graham died a couple of days ago at the age of 71, I think. And John McCain died a few years ago, and he was very old too. And Joe Lieberman, who retired from the Senate in 2012, died after that. They were called the three amigos. There are things that always connected them together and gained their support consistently. Number one, they always supported the Jews, always. Let's start with Joe Lieberman, an Orthodox Jew, and he supported the Jews all the way. In fact, I and my family lived in Connecticut for a couple of years. He was the senator from Connecticut, and they used to call him there the senator from Tel Aviv. He's a senator from Connecticut, but the people, always in Tel Aviv, meeting with the Jews, support consistent, continuous, solid, everything the Jews wanted. So they called him the senator from Tel Aviv. This man was a strange fellow, even for Congress. Supposedly a Democrat, supposedly a liberal. He wasn't. He was voting with whatever he thought would benefit him as number one, and number two would benefit the Jews. Number three, the rich and powerful in America, because that's what they all live for. So Lieberman was siding with the Democrats in many cases, but also with the Republicans in many cases. And people were not sure where he stands on anything. It's just all over the map, as they say, once here, once there, once half and half, back and forth, consistent. They voted for every war against Islam and Muslims, the three amigos. They supported the Jews in whatever they did to the Palestinians, everything. And they voted to support Israel with money, weapons, intelligence, everything. And people today are talking about merging the US military and the Israeli military. Really? I thought they were merged together decades ago. But, anyway, so Joe Lieberman was consistently against anything and everything that is Islamic, voted for all the wars, vocal in his support for the Jews, whatever the Jews did, and he was a shapeshifter. They called Lindsey Graham in the media a shapeshifter. They all are. They all are. I got it. What about Joe Lieberman? I mean, he's all over the place. I mean, you would consider that the vote, that solidly he's going to vote this way, then he vote that way, and this way, and that way. and died as an Orthodox Jew for the Jews, about the Jews, 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 and more Jews. But you have to understand, to be in Congress, they say 80 to 85% of the members of Congress receive money from apex. So you have loyalty for those who give you money, right? And for the big corporations, for the rich and powerful. That's what they live for. Congress, the whole system is about that. And they didn't care much about the people who voted them and gave them the opportunity to be in the house of power and money, the Congress. His segment was the Senate, but they didn't care. They don't care, these people. Once they get in, they start working immediately on how to stay there. In fact, Congress should be called the House of Old People. Very old. They're just sitting there. They just sit there. Joe Lieberman uh, died. Let's talk about John McCain, who until he died, really until almost the end, I heard it live, because even though I work on books and articles every day that explain and defend Islam, I listen to the news because I need to have this information so that when I write, I have information about what's going on in the world. So John McCain kept saying until the end, Islamofascism. So Islam is the religion, fascism is what the Christians of Europe came up with. Has nothing to do with Islam, but he was so hateful of Islam and Muslims that he voted for every war against Islam and Muslims. I mean, need I say more? He called Islam Islamofascism. He kept saying it until the end. And these people become so rich that once I saw an interview with him, a part of it, because I can't stand these people. But anyway, so he was asked about how many homes do you own? Yeah, I have that home there and that home there. He forgot how many homes he owned. Yet they spend their life, especially the Republicans, taking money from the poor, giving it to the rich. And for the Democrats, they take money from the rich sometimes and give it to social programs. Who's losing all the time? The voters in all directions. He couldn't even remember how many homes he owned. John McCain, Islamofascism. Again, he voted for anything and everything for the Jews, just like Joe Lieberman. John McCain voted for every war against Islam and Muslims, for the Jews, no matter what they did. And John McCain acted like he's a conservative. I think his campaign to become president, he ran against Obama, was one of the lousiest in all directions. Even worse, I mean, it's not easy for me to say it, even worse than Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton. Their campaigns were unbelievable. Anyway, his campaign was, in some ways at least, worse. And he lost. And Alhamdulillah, he lost, because even though all of them are against Islam and Muslims, I mean, only in this century, Afghanistan, they voted for the war there. Iraq, and other areas. They caused the death of at least 1 million Muslims, these wars, and they were all for the wars. Would you take any kind of kindness? Would you expect any kind of mercy, kindness, niceness from someone who keeps calling your religion Islamofascism? No. What about Lindsey Graham? I always thought that Lindsey, I don't know how people say it, but anyway, Lindsey was the name of a girl. They said to me, no, a girl, a boy, half and half, like in his case. Graham, there is an extra letter there, and it is a waste on such a man who his own people, actually, the MAGA, have been calling him a warmonger, especially against Iran. Always called attack Iran, attack Iran, attack Iran, attack Iran. Jews, 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 give them everything and anything. And he stood by the Jews and everything they did against the Palestinians. And until the day he died, or just before, the day before, he was saying, yeah, my goals are to bring back the sanctions against Russia because they attacked Ukraine, about the war against Iran to continue, and bringing Saudi into the Abrahamic Accords. And I hope that the government in Saudi never listens to these people. Never. I think they publicly said that they will never make peace with the Jews until the Jews give the Palestinians their rights. Well, at least it is a public stance, and one strong voice for this Abrahamic religions was Lindsey Graham. Why Graham? I don't know. I say Graham with stress on the second part of the word. Graham. Graham. Then take the A off. Anyway. And they're talking now about what I've known it for a long time. He is accused of being a homosexual. Now they're coming with stories. Before, the media used to say that he is a homosexual, but conservative Republican MAGA, even though he doesn't really believe in MAGA, he wasn't a MAGA before, but when Trump came, he thought, this is a man, I can influence him to do what I want him to do. Iran, war. Military, more money. Jews, more. And of course, taking money from the poor, giving the money to the rich, and cutting people's health care. This is what these people are about. Now they're saying he was a homosexual, which they have been accusing him for a long time, many years. But it's just on and off. Anyway, this man acted like he's, a Christian, like John McCain, and conservative Christian, whatever. Graham was asked by a reporter, I think about a couple of months ago, why didn't you just announce that you are gay so people stop blackmailing you about this topic? You can find it on the net. In fact, put their names and you will find much of their legacy, especially against Islam and Muslims. Now, Lindsey Graham was instrumental in starting the war against Iran. He called for it for a very long time. McCain was another world. He wasn't a MAGA, but he was as bad as MAGA, and he was called as a hero by his people. He was um, captured in Vietnam, spent a couple of years in jail. There was torture, uh, not new, in the Vietnamese, not nice people. And the people who tried to exterminate them are not nice people on all sides. But he came as a hero. Trump was mocking him all the time. What kind of hero that you got captured? Trump, of course, never never fought for anything except for grifting for himself and his family. And never fought. Many times he saved his uh, backside, they call it excitement side, from the army when recruited. So, a strange collection of people. Between them, the three of them uh, stayed on this earth for about 250 years. Between them, 70, 80 plus 80, whatever, you know, at least 250 years, maybe less. And they did evil for everyone and in every direction. These people were combined in the term the three amigos, indicates how closely they worked. From our side, I don't care about what bills they did or didn't do. They always voted against Islam and Muslims, for wars against Islam and Muslims, for the Jews to do whatever they wanted. And they stood by while the Jews massacred the Palestinians. Uh, of course, John McCain died before the new war in Gaza, but they stood with the Jews in heart, statement, and action. Three old people, very old people. They just, when they go to Congress, they just sit there. Like this, there is this woman running in Maine, Susan Collins. Unbelievable. This woman says she's like dead. Watch her. How slow she speaks, and she forgets things, but she did not forget. A couple of weeks ago, again, a reporter asked about her receiving millions of dollars from the Apex. I stand with Israel. Well, she thinks she can stand. She was very old, just all of them. Look at Mitch McConnell. I thought he was dead. I thought he was dead. Look at him when he spoke and walked, and it's just like a corpse with no emotions, no feelings, freezing sometimes. Maybe he's dead, but he's still there. They want to leave him so that they don't have to do special elections in Kentucky. We lived in Kentucky, by the way. We know McConnell very well, what he did there for the Kentuckians. Oh, I got it this time. Kentuckians. Very little. They took his money, their money, and gave it to the rich. And he did another thing that is horrible and will cause harm for everyone, except for the MAGA and those conservative Christians whose religion made them so vicious against nature, animals, and human beings. You know, McConnell, who was, not really in line with Trump all the time. In fact, he opposed him. He stuffed the courts in America with hundreds and hundreds of right-wing judges. Now, in this regard, nobody in the federal government in America or the Senate or the House had a mark larger than the mark Mitch McConnell left. So, the three amigos, Lindsey Graham, John McCain, and Joe Lieberman, the three amigos, Uh, in Arabic, we have a word أحمق. You know what أحمق mean? A fool. A fool. أحمق. So the three amigos, three hamigos. See? أحمق, حميقos. So the three hamigos. These people were criminals, supported crimes against Islam and Muslims. And this is all what matters to me. You see, even though by the blessings of Allah, I was able, me and my family, to produce tens of books, more than 70 books, authoring, translating. Some of them are sitting next to me here. You will find these and more on our website, islamlife.com. Islamlife.com. If you put my name, Jalal Abualrub, Jalal Abualrub, and Islam Life, you'll find this YouTube channel, Facebook page, where you have thousands of articles that Allah blessed me and my family to produce, all of them in English, all the books and the articles explaining explaining and or defending Islam. You will find the website islamlife.com. So I work very hard, me and my family, on books and articles every day, literally every day, except in some days when we can't. But this is what we do. This is our life. Yet we follow the news, because if I'm authoring books, especially about, the system, religious and political in the West, I need to know what's going on in the world. I follow the news. And I followed the news of many politicians here. Unlike people who are thinking that Muslims who are religious are not really attached to what's going on in the world. Wallah, we spent decades knowing what's going on in the world. And this is why the books we have, for example, I have this book here. You'll find it on the website, islamlife.com. 50 Righteous and Humane Concepts brought by Muhammad. 50 points comparison between the Old Testament, the New Testament, and the Quran and Prophet Muhammad's Sunnah practices. Comparison. This book is on the website, and other books, because when we write, depending on the topic, of course, we have to talk about what's going on around us. And I've been following these people, and Biden, for example, for a long time. These people are serial criminals. They're murderers, criminals, grifters. They always voted for the killing of Muslims. I am a Muslim first, and then from Palestine, from the West Bank, the city of Jenin. And our people were devastated, like other people, like Afghanis, like the Iraqis, like the Syrians, because of the either direct attacks by those God-fearing Christians in America and the West, or because of them, things happened there. So we suffered a lot. But these three were in a league of their own, the league of the three Hamigos. Now they are back with Allah. Things they will discover that His name is not God. Jesus never said God, period. Nothing. Zero. He said Elohim, Ilaha, Allah. And they have to answer for their crimes against humanity, really. And the others are in waiting. People always knew always that we will die. You know, prepare yourself for the meeting with your maker. And you know, there are people who have a huge list of things they did against other human beings to answer for. And there are people who are disgusted with this kind of people, and many Christians are here in America, really. More than half of American Christians uh, are despised by this MAGA and their policies. About a half or more of the American public is now against giving support to the Jews because they now know what these Jews have been doing for decades with their money, weapons, and all kinds of support. So the three amigos, it's not possible for me to say goodbye. I say bye, don't come back, you will never come back. And now you face what you did and for eternity. So prepare yourself for the meeting with your creator. Have some humanity. Like, act like a human. Really. Unbelievable. Lindsey, you died without securing the uh, three things that you wanted. The war against Iran is on and off and on, off, on, depending on the hour of the day. Uh, the sanctions against Russia, they're still off. Trump did it. And the Saudis, inshallah. I really hope that the Saudi government will never sign anything with the Jews until at a minimum, the West Bank and Gaza are back in the hands of the Palestinians. I hope they don't do that. However, we are all going back to Allah. These people lived between them, like I said, 250 years, they still died. Susan Collins, in her 80s, she's still running for the Senate. And the Democrats, they know people in Maine are sick of her. They're sick of her and her voice and her slow thinking and unbelievable woman. She voted with MAGA like 99%. Yeah, she's running again. She's in her 80s. Like our Egyptian brothers sometimes say about very old people, in this case, very old woman, Murdi'at Nefertiti, the nurse of Nefertiti, you know, the Pharaoh, Kinga, queen. Yeah, maybe she was the nurse of Nefertiti. She's been living for a very long time. Here is a task for you. Don't waste time with it. I'm just joking, but count how many years collectively people in Congress who are 50 years old and older lived in this life. Thousands of years. Do you feel anything good came out of them? Personally, in your pocket, in your life, in your house, your family? So here is the description that we should be using from now on for the American political system. Democrats, liberals, progressives, neutrals, whatever they call them, undeciders. The American system is like a snake with two heads, at least, or three heads, while each head is pointing to a different direction, you know, as opposed to the other two or three or more heads, still one body. Jalal Abualrub, IslamLife.com, and we will continue this mission, bi'idhnillah, Allah willing, until the end.